So what's at stake for all Filipinos this 2022 elections? Boses Pilipinas convener Imelda Deinla is here with us in the studio for some insights. Thank you so much for joining us. No? Mahigit ng 3 oras na nagboboto ang ating mga kababayan sa iba't ibang mga polling centers and precincts. Sa mga research and surveys ninyo, ano ang pinaka-importanting iniisip ngayon ng ating mga botante ngayong pumupunta sila sa botohan?
Base sa aming research, Rico, one of the most important na iniisip ngayon ng mga Pilipino ay mag-reflect doon sa mga choices nila. What are the good qualities of the leaders that they wanted to vote? But at the same time, yung willingness nila to go out there. So, based on our studies, we probe, ang aming focus po yung youth, who comprised about over 54% of the voting population. And we found that they're really very excited. I think maybe over 70% of them are most likely to vote in these elections. And we hope that this trend will show in the polls today.
So sa karamihan ng ating mga youth voters ang pupunta ngayon sa mga polling centers para bumoto. Pero ang youth vote po ba, Imelda, is based on social media or on facts rather than fake news and misinformation?
Yun po yung isa sa malaking survey research na ginagawa po namin kung ano po yung kanilang confidence in looking at political information. And unfortunately, we see over 3 rounds of survey research is that we found that they are still very highly vulnerable to fake news. So 3 times we asked them on a fake news quiz, and unfortunately, their answers did not really improve. So maybe around only over 60% of them got correctly the fake news quiz. So it means that they have very high confidence that they can na pwede nilang ma-detect yung fake news. But unfortunately, yung lumalabas na resulta is that they are still really highly vulnerable to fake news.
Alright, bago natin ituloy ang ating discussion, Imelda Deinla from Boses Pilipinas, nakikita po natin ngayon sa ating mga screens ang pagdating ni Mayor Sara Duterte sa Davao City. No? Siya ay tumatakbo bilang vice-presidente, pangalawang pangulo ng bansa. And she is currently proceeding to her precinct para bumoto siya para sa itong eleksyon na ito. At alam po natin, siya yung anak ni Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte, and she was born in May 31, 1978. Ayan po, she has served as Davao City Mayor from June 30, 2010 to June 30, 2013. Prior to that, she also served as Vice Mayor of Davao City from June 30, 2007 to June 30, 2010. Ayan, makikita po natin, andyan po si Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte. Ibibigay sa kanya yung kanyang balota, ang ballot secrecy folder at isang marking pen para ma-fill out niya ang kanyang balota sa voting area. While we're seeing Sara Duterte about to vote, no, Imelda, gaano ka-importante sa ating mga youth voters, hindi lang ang iboboto nilang presidente, kung ang iboboto nilang vice-presidente?
Mahalaga kasi alam naman natin yung function of a vice president is a president in waiting. So kung ano man yung mangyari sa presidente, the vice president will take over. So kailangan na the vice president should be as competent, as well qualified as the president that we will elect.
Alright, babalik po tayo sa ating discussion na Imelda, because tinitingnan po natin ngayon, no, si Mayor Sara Duterte voting in her precinct in Davao City. Iniexplika sa kanya ng isang volunteer ang kanyang balota na inilagay sa isang ballot secrecy folder at ibigay rin sa kanya yung marking pen. Ayan, nakaupo na po siya sa isang classroom sa Davao City at i-fill up niya ngayon yung kanyang balota for President, Vice President, kasama na rin dyan yung congressman sa kanyang distrito at senators, the 12 senators that she will be voting for, and all the local officials. Ayan, nakikita po natin ngayon si Sara Zimmerman. Ang tawag sa kanya, she's fondly called Inday Sara Duterte Carpio. Siya po ang anak ng ating presidente na si Rodrigo Duterte. Ayan po, pwede natin rin pag-usapan ang karir niya bilang mayor ng Davao. She was the first woman mayor and the youngest to be elected to the position in 2010, 2016, and 2019. Ayan po, 3 terms na siya as mayor of Davao City. Alam niyo naman na may term limit ang mga local officials natin. So, her term ends as mayor this year, 2022. Ngayon, tumatakbo siya bilang vice-presidente ng ating bansa. And she aggressively gathered support against the anti-political dynasty bill in 2015, stating that there are nearly 4 decades of uncontested rule in Davao as a product of democratic process. They also accused and blamed various politicians of being political dynasties. Ayan. She launched a movement that gathered support from Duterte's political allies called Tapang at Malasakit. And she was also one of the 9 elected governors of the Philippine Red Cross in 2014. Ayan po, si Mayor Sara Duterte is running for Vice President. Alam po natin, isa lang ang mananalo po sa posisyon na ito, and she is up against 9 other vice presidential candidates or 8 vice presidential candidates. Ayan, nakikita po rin natin ulit si Mayor Sara Duterte filling up her ballot. And we will return and give you more details about her voting in Davao City. And we'll also continue our conversation with Boses Pilipinas, Imelda Deinla. Please stay tuned. This is CNN Philippines special coverage, The Filipino Votes, Election Day 2022. We would like to welcome you back to this CNN Philippines special presentation, The Filipino Votes, Election 2022. Ayan po, kasama po natin dito sa studio si Boses Pilipinas convener Imelda Deinla. She's still with us here to give us her insights on the various perceptions of the Filipino voter as they vote today, May 9, 2022. At nakikita rin po natin si Mayor Sara Duterte in Davao City casting her vote. Ayan po, sinusulat pa rin po niya. She's marking her ballot for president, for vice president, for the 12 senators that she will be voting for, 1 congressman in her district, and of course the local officials for mayor and vice mayor. Ayan po, yung kanyang kapatid, si Baste Duterte, ay tumatakbo bilang mayor of Davao City. Ayan po, nakikita po natin si Mayor Sara Duterte at a polling precinct in Davao City. Just to give you some background as well on Sara Zimmerman and Sara Duterte Carpio. She emerged as the country's top-performing local chief executive with a 93% job approval rating. She's the first elected Davao City mayor who established a bus transport system in the city called High Priority Bus System, where jeepney drivers will be given the first opportunity to be hired as drivers provided that they pass the tests and age requirement. Otherwise, they will be receiving a compensation package from the city government and the Department of Transportation. Ayan po. Ayan po, we are seeing right now pictures of Sara Duterte almost completing her ballot in her ballot secrecy folder. Ayan, while she's continuing to fill up her ballot, ayan na po, tapos na po si Mayor Sara Duterte, who is running under the Lakas CMD party. And narinig po natin during the past few months in her campaign sorties, ang kanyang platform is to pursue federalism, and she also wants to pursue a mandatory military service for Filipinos aged 18 and above. Ayun po, nakita po natin si Mayor Sara Duterte accomplishing the ballot by fully shading the ovals appearing before the name of the candidates. And she's now about to submit her ballot. Ayan, pinasok na po niya. She has fed the ballot into the vote counting machine, also called the VCM. And now that it has been fed into the vote counting machine, she is waiting for her voter's receipt. Ayan po, hininay po niya yung kanyang voter's receipt. Ayan po, lumalabas na po ang voter's receipt from the vote counting machine. And from there, she will be checking kung tama po yung lumabas sa voter's receipt sa kanyang mga binoto. Pagkatapos po niyan, yan po, she's looking intently at the voter's receipt. Ilalagay po niya yan sa isang receptacle after she has double and triple checked yung mga sinade niyang mga kandidato for President, Vice President, for the 12 Senate seats, and for Congress. Ayun po, nakita po niya, no? Ngayon, ilalagay niya ang kanyang voter's receipt yung sa voter's box. And after that, she is now having her right forefinger nailed, stained with the indelible ink. Ayan. Titignan po natin, pagkatapos ito, ang kanyang pagboto, kung kakausapin niya yung media sa labas na naghihintay sa kanya sa polling area. Ayan, ang dami pong media na naghihintay kay Inday Sara. Ayan po, nag-fist bump siya sa mga poll volunteers sa loob ng presinto na kanyang binutohan. Ayan po, nandiyan po siya sa Davao City, and she just has finished voting in this election 2022. Marami pong nagpapaselfie sa kanya. Hintayin natin ng sandali kung kakausapin niya ang media at kung magbibigay siya ng statement tungkol sa Election Day 2022. Gaano po kaimportante, Imelda, ang eleksyon na ito para sa ating sambayanan?
Napaka-importante po, lalo na sa mga nakaraang 6 years, nakita natin na yung various organizations ay nagsasabi na may democratic backsliding po tayo. So it's very important that we vote and hopefully ito pong election na to magkaroon po ng yung mga tao po maging confident po sa ating demokrasya. So napakahalaga po na bumoto at erase po yung kanilang mga sentiments, yung voices, and this is what democracy means. So, kailangan natin na they go out there and make their voices count.
Imelda, nakausap natin kanina ang PPCRV, ang ating mga reporters across the country, and marami pong nagsabi na mahahaba na po ang mga linya sa iba't ibang mga polling centers. At minsan pa nga, naghihintay na rin sila mga 1 oras, 2 oras para makaboto sila. Gaano po kayo ka-confident sa proseso at magiging resulta nitong halalan na ito?
First of all, let us commend the Commission on Elections for doing such a big job. This is a very complex political landscape, and to think na napakalawak po ng geography ng Philippines. But at the same time, mahalaga po they have the constitutional mandate, and that is to uphold democracy, and that is by ensuring that we have free, fair, credible, and honest elections. So napakataas po ng expectations po sa COMELEC. And I think several groups have already raised yung mga trust issues nila. And I think the way to do this for the COMELEC is to manage these expectations po.
Imelda, anong masasabi? Kasi marami pang oras, no? Bago magtapos ang voting period, no? Ang voting hours, which will be at 7 o'clock tonight. Sa mga undecided voters, no? Nasa bahay pa nila. Hindi pa nila alam kung boboto sila, kung lalabas sila, kasi nakikita rin nila na marami ring taon naglilinya sa iba't ibang mga polling centers. Anong masasabi niyo sa kanila, sa mga undecided voters, na kung anong kailangan nilang gawin para sa ating bayan?
Kailangan lang po talaga lumabas po sila sa araw na to. Siyempre wala na tayong magagawa doon sa mga unregistered. Pero alam naman natin na mataas po yung porsyento ng nag-register. So kailangan lang po, they have to go out there and cast their ballot. So yun lang po, and they have that obligation po, no, na maging part sila ng demokrasya. This is your time to choose your leaders in the next 6 years. At sana po mag-reflect po tayo sa mga gusto po natin mangyari sa ating bayan. And I think, again, they have that moral responsibility.
They have that moral responsibility to vote for their leaders over the next 6 years. Pero alam rin po natin, no, marami pang oras, marami pang mga fake news and misinformation na pwedeng lumabas dyan, di ba? Particularly on social media. Paano po nakakatulong ang inyong grupo sa paglaban ng fake news and misinformation, especially during these critical hours on voting day, May 9, 2022?
May pagkakataon pa po na suriin po yung ating mga kandidato. Go out of the social media. Pwede naman pong mag-Google. Pwedeng tingnan po yung ating mainstream media, yung kanilang information na nilalabas. Kasi po, napakataas po ng vulnerability nila sa social media. At alam naman po natin, at this time, punong-puno pa rin ng misinformation and disinformation. Sana palawakin po yung sources of political information na kinukonsum po nila, because that's the only way that they can actually vote wisely.
Maraming salamat po for joining us this morning on CNN Philippines, Boses Pilipinas, Imelda Deinla.